Hello and welcome back to the 2 Banks 4 podcast, the first podcast in 2 months. We'll be touching on why it is the first podcast in a few months in just a sec. But Tom, how have you been, mate?
I've been really good, thank you. How are you?
I've been good, yeah, good. It's been a while. It's been a long while.
Long overdue.
So basically, anyone who's been watching the podcast will know that the last episode we did was in November time, late November. And basically a series of events and a chain of events occurred which have kind of pushed us back and stopped us being able to produce the podcast on a weekly basis. So the first set of events that occurred was we had exam mocks, which was something that we had to prioritise and make sure we did well pretty much. We couldn't leave them to the side and put them behind the podcast, and revising all day every day and then on your Friday night coming home to do a podcast was a bit draining, and we just didn't have the time to prioritise the podcast over our education. And then towards the Christmas period we couldn't do a podcast purely because we've both been working a lot, both being over the Christmas period doing temp jobs and trying to build up a bit of an income before the 2020 started, which is what we've done. So that's all out of the way, and that leads us into the new year where we had to file our uni applications. So in all, it's just been a very, very busy 2 months.
But we're back.
We are back with episode 10 of the 2 Banks 4 podcast. Anybody watching this, thank you for sticking by us. We're 140 subs now, 5,000 viewers so far. Much more than we could ever have anticipated at the start when we started this off as like a little hobby. So yeah, thank you very much. On this episode, we're going to be talking about various things. First things first, we're talking about VAR, our opinions on how that's been throughout this season. Moving on from that, we're going to be touching on something that could be quite interesting to see what both of us think, really. Our predictions for the end of the season. I mean, we've got about 13 games left, I think, now. It's crunch time, really, for bottom 3 and for the top 6. Top 6 could go either way still, so could relegation. It's been a really interesting season. In terms of quality, probably not the best, I'd say. Obviously, Liverpool have run away with it, but Norwich are the only team that I'd say are down so far.
Yeah, I agree.
So that'll be interesting to have a look at in perspective. But there's not going to be too much structure to this podcast. We're going to just chat about, obviously, the football that's been going on. We've got a lot to cover, and it'd be unfair to try and cover it all in the hour. It would just be too rushed, so have a general chat about things that have gone on, really. So, Tom, first of all, VAR. Obviously, it's raised a few eyebrows. It's been all over the news. We've already heard that complaints about refs not going to the monitor, that whole argument. You know how it is. What's your opinions on it so far?
My big issue with VAR is a good thing. I think that why it's been brought in is correct. To me, the one word is just consistency. It's not consistent enough. You know, you see the same incidents, in the same week or 2 match days apart, and one is being given for a foul and one isn't. One's a penalty, one isn't. One's a red card, one isn't. And that's the thing that's getting on my nerves, I think. And then obviously the biggest issue is they're not using the monitors as well. I think in the actual Premier League it's happened once. It's happened once in the FA Cup, and that's it. I still don't understand why they're not using it. I mean, it's there for a reason, because I thought VAR was there to help change the clear and obvious decisions and help the referees. But if there's something which the referee originally didn't give the decision for and then it got overturned, then they're no longer being advised, they're being told, and it's not even their point of view, if that makes sense. So I don't understand why they're not going to double check to see if that is their own opinion, because they're just being told by VAR. And it's one thing that's getting on my nerves, really. I think week in, week out, there's so many decisions happening in VAR which is just completely wrong, and it is ruining the game. I think I always say get rid of it. I don't know if you think that.
It's a process of it needs to be amended massively. Yeah. It's unfair on the fans. I mean, I've been going to pretty much every home game this season, bar about 2-3 at Villa, and it has been, especially at the start of the season, it's not been so bad recently, but you just don't know what's going on. You're sat there, confused. Next thing you know, the ref's pointing the opposite way and it's been reverted. And it pisses me off because Shearer comes on before the game on that big screen explaining why he loves VAR so much. and they'll back it to the death on Match of the Day because he's clearly been paid a wager sum to back it all the way. But it's just unfair on fans. I think everybody who's been to a game where VAR's happened would understand that as well. I think the idea is correct, and I think it's made some good decisions, but it's also made some howlers, I think. And it's that level of consistency as well. You can't have one ref thinking one thing and going against the other. Like, I don't think it works like that. But anyway, who do you think has benefited the most this season? I'd say, obviously, Liverpool, they've had their chances. They've had their decisions. I know that things came out in the week about...
Going through the survey, it's Manchester United.
Yeah, but that's for goals given. If
That's overall.
No, it's for the goals given. If you look at the goals that have been overturned for other teams, then it's a substantial amount.
So Liverpool were on -2, right? So that means overall decisions throughout the season.
That means if you're looking at it straight, they've had 2 goals disallowed.
They've had -2 overall. But then, if that's not key, then what else are you thinking is key? If you're saying
goals from the other team being overturned that they're playing against.
You know what I'm saying? That's overall. I just don't understand, because when I look at it, I don't understand how we've had big decisions, if you know what I mean. Like, overall, we've had equal amount against. I mean, last week we should have had a penalty. Bobby Firmino got fouled in the box, wasn't given. But then I guess you could argue Danny Ings was then fouled at the end of the pitch, wasn't given. And I get annoyed when people do say, "Oh, Liverpool are only winning because of VAR, etc." Because I think a lot of people just can't handle the truth of we are just good. However, I do get annoyed with it because the decisions are just awful. As I was saying, against the consistency, this doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how they can keep disallowing clear fouls, basically, and they're not giving it. I don't understand.
Honestly, it just baffles me.
I saw today, I'm not sure if you have seen this or not, about something online. They've suggested about giving a 10 centimetre margin for error for offside with VAR.
I think that'd be good. I think offside's the one thing they've got worst, because you can't be level with the man anymore. You can't. That one against Wesley got ruled offside against Burnley. I don't know if you remember or not. Absolutely disgraceful decision. It was terrible.
Stupid.
It was awful.
The thing is, you look at it and you have to say, okay, offside's offside, fair enough. But I think the thing that gets frustrating, you see teams like their toe is literally...
That's what it was, his heel.
It's like a millimetre offside, and you're like, well, okay, offside's offside, but is that really going to contribute? Or when they're leaning forward and their armpit's offside or something. I mean...
Well, the way I look at it,
you can't score with your armpit.
The way I look at it
Stupid.
is that if you're... And until they get cameras alongside the offside line, they're just doing it off... They're literally using math. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm trying gas, but I think the camera, if they go to offside, the camera should be in line with the player. So you have a view across the face. Because at the moment, they're like...
It's always at an angle.
Using angles, and it's like all a bit dodgy.
Mm-hmm. I just don't...
I think there's a lot of human error.
The thing I don't like about it, I said, with... Obviously, they say, so offside, it's the first bit, which you can basically score with, etc.
Yeah.
So the armpit, but you can't score with your armpit. So I don't get it. You've seen people like Peter Crouch has said, and came out and tweeted or whatever, if VAR was back in the day when he was playing, I know he only retired a few years ago, I mean, like, years ago, he'd had so many goals disallowed. To me, obviously knees or whatever, from your waist down or whatever, as long as that's behind the man, I don't really... if you're leaning forward or whatever, I mean, you're not going to score with your top man.
Well, your head.
Okay, that's a good point. That's quite a good point. But you know what I mean? I'm trying to say about the arm situation, and many players have been penalised for it, and I think it's a bit pathetic, really. I think they need to, throughout the summer, they need to really...
I think every referee has to understand. Every referee has to be on the same level, on the same wavelength.
Well, you tell me this thing, 'cause this is what I don't understand. The Premier League VAR has basically failed this season.
Yeah.
Why? I may be wrong. Throughout all the other leagues, you don't see these big problems with VAR.
Because they go to the VAR. And then it's ref's decision.
Even to the fact the 2018 World Cup VAR was used, and I can remember we were getting really, not gassed about, but we were thinking, bloody hell, this is working.
They just kept going to the monitor.
Exactly.
I don't know what they do. I don't understand
England got quite a few decisions when Kane was fouled in the box for penalties, etc., and they used the monitor, and VAR worked perfectly. Other leagues it's working, so why is it the Premier League? I don't understand why referees being advised not to look at the monitor. I don't get what the principle is. They're saying to slow down the game or whatever, but the game's already getting slowed down. What was it the other day? I know they say about the ball going out of play. Tottenham versus Man City. There was a bout after the foul on, was it Aguero, I think it was, in the box or whatever. They played for another minute and a half. You may think, that's not very long. But, in reality, that is quite a long time before he called it side for VAR, and then it'll give it a penalty. Nearly 2 minutes. Some people in the crowd said that they forgot what he was even blown up for because it would gone that far past the incident in the first place.
That's the thing. Sometimes as a fan, I'm sat in a crowd and I see like a Villa player go for a 50-50 and we break through from the back. Playing the back of my mind is thinking, we could score a worldie here. It doesn't matter if that foul gets brought back. You know what I mean? It's so like...
So, what do you think then, in the summer, if they need to reevaluate this and different next season? Because they won't scrap it. They'll keep it. But what do you think they will
Tight decisions, the ref should be forced to get a monitor. Referees' decisions should be found at the monitor. Offsides... I wouldn't even mind it if they install cameras at grounds, like when 100-metre sprints being run. They have a camera going alongside the player.
But then, how's that going to inflict with the linesman? That's quite true.
I genuinely think linesman will be I don't think linesman will be a thing by the end of the century. 100%. I think they're dying out. A referee, yes. You need that.
Actually,
a linesman...
Unless it's a clear decision
A referee, fouls are very opinionated. Offsides, as we've seen this season, the FA clearly want offsides to be, if it's offside, it's offside. Facts. If your body part, we should have scored if it's over the player. Facts. Get a robot to do that. Get a camera to do that. You know what I mean? You don't need a referee to do that. They do it with goal on tech.
What if they make the decisions and the ref can blow up or whatever? Yeah. When he gets told. A bit like when he looks at his watch and it says... To me, that's probably the best thing they've ever introduced to football was goal line technology.
100%.
It's the only thing that... I don't think they've ever had a problem with it.
Worked the charm. Perfect. But I think linesmen, most of them are just... I don't know, I think referee standard in Championship and the Pro. I thought the Championship referee standard was bad. Jeez, Premier League referees.
Premier League's deteriorated over the years.
It's terrible.
I think they used to have quite a few good refs.
We used to have Clattenburg and Howard Webb and all them. But now they're just going. Martin Atkinson against Watford was the worst refereeing performance I've seen in the last 3 years, I reckon.
Martin Atkinson has genuinely... He's declined the last few...
I used to think he was quite good.
He's made some bad decisions.
The time wasting there against Watford by Ben Foster was an absolute joke. I mean, I don't like him anyway. But it was a joke. Terrible.
I mean, I might be wrong, but did any English referees get picked for the 2018 World Cup?
I don't think so.
I don't think they did. And I think that just shows, quite a lot of these referees would want to go to those competitions, but the standard they are, it's deteriorating. I mean, you've got, 2010, I know they got very criticised, but we got English referees to the final.
Yeah, what? Howard Webb, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you got Clattenburg in the Champions League finals.
Yeah, exactly. I think it could be quite a while. To me, the only referee I quite like is Michael Oliver.
Yeah, but I mean, I like Chris Kavanagh. I don't mind Chris Kavanagh.
I think a lot of referees
Kevin Friend and Martin Atkinson though.
They usually just stand... I know it's hard, it's easier said than done, but I think a lot of them... I just wish they'd stand their ground a bit more, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just be a lot more tougher. I mean, the disrespect players show towards the referee is awful. When decisions get made, they're swearing, they're right in their face. I know it's easier for us to say, but, if we were a referee, I'd want to just... literally say to their face, get in my face one more time, you're getting booked straight away.
Literally. Anyway, enough VAR talk. We've heard too much of it this season already. What's your opinion on where the rest of the season's heading? I want the champions, which is pretty good. Well, if Liverpool bottle it this time, Jesus Christ, they can't.
If Liverpool bottle it, they never deserve to win a league title ever. If Premier League, however the Premier League goes for.
Kind of monumental. It's 30 years as well.
I know. It's quite nice to think that this season, I think every Liverpool fan have finally got to that point where they can actually say we're going to win the league, and it took the 22 points to happen a 20-point gap for it to happen, to admit it, because I think over the last few seasons it's been so touch and go with Liverpool, bottling it. I think top four, I think the top four is just going to stay as it is. I think it will be City, City, Chelsea and Leicester. No, I think they'll stay. I would love to see the next few places of Sheffield and Wolves.
That'd be really
and
interesting.
I'd love Man United to, drop a bit.
I think if Man United dropped that top 6 and didn't get Europa League, it could be a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that wouldn't. I think if they can keep progressing in the Europa League till Marcus Rashford gets back, I think Marcus Rashford's proved that he's world class this season. He looks like a top class player.
I remember criticising him at the start of the season. I really didn't like him. I thought he didn't do anything, but the last few before, he got injured, whatever, he was getting into it, wasn't he? But he's starting to get more
11, 12 goals.
Yeah, exactly.
He was on fire when he got injured. But I guess I think United. Do you remember that season Chelsea had a shocker, and they didn't get the Champions League or Europa League? Conte came in, won in the league first season back because they had just focused on the league.
Maybe they need something like that just to come in and kind of just change it all back up again. I think maybe
if I'm them, I'm breaking the bank to get Pochettino in charge. Honestly,
I think United need the summer to come quick.
If I'm United, if I'm Ed Woodward, you know what I'm doing? I'm saying, look, sell Pogba, 150 million, and I'm straight at Leicester and Villa's doorstep trying to get Maddison and Grealish. Now, that might sound stupid. You got Scott McTominay, who's they love him, and I think he's class. Young central defensive midfielder. He looks like he's gonna be the real deal. Imagine him with Maddison and Grealish together in front of him. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the best centre mid partnership in Prem.
I saw online actually. There was like saying like unpopular opinion, whatever. It's like United have the second best midfield in the league. What do you think about that?
What, Pogba, Scott McTominay, and Fred being the third? They like Fred now. Mm-hmm. Fred's became a popular player.
What do you think they're missing? What do you think?
I don't rate Liverpool's midfield that high. I think they just play well together. I think a few fans are talking about how bad Gini Wijnaldum's been recently.
I was going to say, right, the thing is...
On paper, if you look at it on paper, because obviously Liverpool's midfield, you can have 3 players terrible, but if they play well together, then they can be better than a group of 3 players who are great.
I was going to say, with Liverpool, that's the thing I love. We've probably got about 7 midfielders overall, right? And realistically, not one of them is like, oh my god, world class. To me, Fabinho is probably one of the best ones. But you just go for it, Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum, Chamberlain, Keita, Milner, Lallana. None of them stand out, but when you put them together, it doesn't matter which combination you have, the work rate is unbelievable. Yeah, and the chemistry. I mean, I'm not sure how you feel about this. I'm not going to put my opinion. There's a lot of things going around on the internet about Jordan Henderson for PFA Player of the Year.
I don't know where that's coming from.
I don't know where it came from.
I don't think he's very good.
But...
I know, that's harsh. I think he's not very good. I'd start for England holding.
I think he starts for England.
Can we agree that if Southgate brings Grealish or Maddison rather than both of them, he's a fraud? He should bring... What is stopping him from bringing both of them?
Both of them should.
Ross Barkley should be nowhere near.
If he doesn't pick Grealish, I think it's stupid. Here's another shout, Danny Ings for England. What do you think?
Well,
look, he had a good season. Do you think it'd be tough on him if he didn't get chosen?
Well, Kane. Kane, even if he goes to Euros, he ain't going to be 100% fit. He ain't going to have the match fitness. So when you're looking down the list, Abraham, I mean, look, I love Tammy Abraham. Got us up pretty much on his own. But is he going to be firing at the Euro? I don't know. He's more of a poacher. Is that England team got enough in them to provide for a poacher? Personally, this is how I'd line up for England. I think our lineup, if we went to the Euros with this squad, it would just be insane. I'd go at the back, in goal, go Dean Henderson. First of all, I think Pickford's
his performance with Everton. He's had it a bit.
He's not had it.
No, but I mean for the Euros this year, because they haven't been doing.
The thing is though, this lineup, I can say whatever lineup I want. Southgate won't pick it. He's got his favourites. He'll pick Barkley and fucking Rice and Dyer.
Don't get me started on Barkley. I can't stand.
I think what he'll do, or what he should do, and I think this team will win us the Euros. Maybe Belgium could be the problem, but I'd go Dean Henderson in goal, Chilwell left back, Trent right back, Gomez and Maguire
I agree.
centre halves. I'd put Mings as my first choice, like backup centre half, ahead of Tomori, because obviously I love Tyrone Mings, but he has got a mistake in him. Give him another season at top flight, and he will be ready for top 4. But I don't think he's ready yet. So that'd be more. I think that's a solid back 4. You ain't gonna get much better than that. Belgium,
that's a good back 4.
Belgium.
You've got 2 very good fullbacks as well, which is
yeah. Well, Chilwell's been poor recently though, but presuming he'd be back into form. I mean, Brandon Williams from United looks like he's gonna be a player. So maybe he's in contention. I don't know. I don't think Southgate will risk that. Sitting, I think that's where our problem is with England. This holding midfield. We haven't got a world class holding midfield like the Belgium there, Axel Witsel. Spain, they got Busquets.
I think the thing
Saul.
is, originally you'd say about Henderson, but obviously recently he hasn't even been playing in that position.
But mate, who do you play there?
Then I still think he could play there. Obviously.
Do you genuinely think Declan Rice is better holding than him?
Oh no, not at all. I was also online saying about Declan Rice gets in the starting Euro squad, and it's not I don't rate him. I think he's good.
I think he's good. I think he does the simple things well.
I'd rather have Henderson.
I think Henderson, he's just in the form of his life.
Yeah, at the moment, he's on top of the world. He's playing amazing, and he's going to become a Liverpool legend. I mean, the stuff he's already done at the club, the stuff he's going to do this year at the club. He's been here, as of next year, he'll be here a decade. I mean...
You don't appreciate these things until you look into them, do you? But, nah, I'd have General Warren Henderson. And what... I know Southgate won't do it, but Grealish and Maddison as two central midfielders, that is disgusting. When you think about what I wouldn't start Ings, I'll bring him. My front three would be Sancho, Sterling, Rashford.
I think 100%.
Can you imagine those three being provided by Grealish and Maddison? We'd score so many goals.
This is just an open question. Do you think they're too similar, almost, to play in the same team?
They're not similar. This is what every person I speak to who's not a Villa or Leicester fan thinks, oh, Grealish, Maddison, because they're compared. They're both English, both young, both central attacking midfielders. They get compared being the same player. The way Grealish carries that ball, people are comparing to Gascoigne. They're saying they haven't seen a player who carries the ball that calmly who's English since Gascoigne. You saw him at the Leicester game. The ball is glued to his feet. Maddison, I'll give right. If you're looking at traits, Maddison's shot and delivery is absolutely sensational.
To be fair, I've not seen someone deliver a corner on point basically every time.
His corner and delivery. His corners, his free kicks, his shooting around the edge of the box. Don't go. I can't complain. That's fair enough. But Grealish, playmaking. You're talking about the best English midfielder at playmaking. He'll pick a pass. What he can do if Maddison can't. He'll beat 4 men. He'll pick up the ball from our defence and beat 4 men and play it off. Like Maddison ain't doing that, and I like Maddison. I'm not getting anything about him. But even Chilwell posted a photo of the three of them, and Maddison commented saying Grealish or Maddison with like the capital letters scattered to try and mock the question, which is true. Everyone's picking one or the other. Bring both of them. Play both of them.
I think if he doesn't pick Grealish for the Euros, I think Southgate will get a lot of hate. I don't really understand why he wouldn't pick him for the Euros, to be fair.
If he doesn't pick, he's got to pick him for the friendlies next month.
I think you also have to say as well...
Lingard can't go. Barkley can't go.
No, 100% not. But I think when you see Villa, I don't think until you watch it, you realise how far ahead Grealish is compared to the rest of the team.
It's disgusting.
It's you see him pick up...
He will go, even if we stay up. He's gone. He's a top 4 player, Champions League player. I mean, there's reports, albeit coming out the Sun and the Mirror, saying Real Madrid and Barca want to pay 75 million.
Do you know what? I was just about to say.
I'm sat there thinking.
I saw something on Twitter saying Lionel Messi wants to leave Barcelona. Barcelona want Jack Grealish. Maybe a swap deal's going to happen.
Can you imagine?
Imagine Grealish to Villa.
Be disgraceful.
No, I mean Messi to Villa. Sorry, that'll be hilarious. So moving on right from international football back to the Premier League. Obviously, we've got the 2-week break at the moment. I think that's quite a good thing that they've introduced for the teams.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that helps a lot, and obviously with a lot of other competitions. I mean, we've just had the FA Cup replays. Obviously, the League Cup final is next month, not too far away. So I think we are getting into the cracking bit of the season now, aren't we? Where we see where teams can crumble, whether they'll go forward. I mean, what you think in the bottom half of the table? It's quite tight, to be fair. There's quite a lot of
There's a few that could drop, you know. You know what my wild cards are for dropping?
Go on then.
Palace.
They haven't been on form, to be
A
fair.
month ago you'd have thought, oh my god, Palace, great season. Hodgson's doing wonders. You look at him now and you think...
Is he doing that good? That's the thing, isn't it?
You look at him now, he's second favourite manager to go. Like,
I can't tell you the exact fact, but I know that they haven't had very many wins in the last 10 games. It's below 5, I think.
they sit there on... Right, so if you look at the bottom three now, it's Norwich on 18, Watford on 23, West Ham 24. Personally, Norwich are down, I think.
I can't see West Ham going down, you know.
Norwich are down. Watford, they've come out of nowhere and got themselves back into it. I don't think Watford will go down. I hate to say it. I really hate to say it, but I'm looking at the teams in contention. Palace, Brighton, Bournemouth, Villa, West Ham, Watford. I think the reason I think Palace and Villa will be the ones to go down with Norwich is simply because I look around all those teams and they've all got a goal scorer. Watford have got Deeney, De La Feu, who will add goals, Sarr, who will add goals.
I don't think Watford will go down now.
Brighton have got Morpay, who's bringing goals to the table. Bournemouth have got Josh King, Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson's starting to gradually get back to form. West Ham, they've got Haller. I know he's not been in form at all.
So you don't think you'd put your faith in Samata?
I just think with West Ham, I think they've got too much quality to go down. And they got Bowen now. So I can't believe he's a Villa fan. His dad was a steward at Villa when he was younger. He's been on fire in the Championship. I can't believe we've let him go to a rival. Can't believe it. But no, I just look around these teams. To me, Palace and Villa are the only two who haven't got goal scorers. I know Jordan Ayew's had a bit of a spree, but he's got no more goals than Grealish. You know what I mean? But I just look at those teams.
I mean, if that's the case, the Haas gone.
I just look at the teams and think Villa and Palace are the only ones at the bottom.
To be fair, I wouldn't want to see Villa go down, but
I don't know. I mean, at this point of the season, it's all about who hits form. That's facts. Each one of those teams will have a little run of wins.
This is the thing. To me, January and February is the worst 2 months in the Premier League calendar. It's because it really is the test of strength, isn't it? It's like almost getting into the final stretch. I mean, from Liverpool's point of view, every single season I can remember watching Liverpool, January and February has just completely killed us off. I mean, we looked last year, 7 points clear at Christmas. January, February, we just cocked up because we drew like 3 games. The year before that, we did it again. And then I think it was like the 2017-18 season, we didn't win for the whole of January. I don't know what it is. When it goes there, we can't do it. I mean, obviously, there's a big change this year. But I think the mentality is completely different. But, you know, it kills teams off, and I think it really does show what teams should be in the league and what shouldn't. I mean, shows the strength. So do you think we're going to see any changes in managers then?
For the remainder of the season?
Yeah, or do you think it will stick it out now?
Well, obviously Watford have got Pearson, they're going down with him, or they're staying up. One or the other, they won't get rid of it.
I'll be surprised if I see any sackings this late in the season.
Will Pearslow have the bottle to sack Smith if we go 6 points adrift? I think he would. Personally, he spent the amount of money that has been spent.
Do you think, though, it depends what happens in the League Cup final on March 1st?
If we win the League Cup final and go down, he won't get sacked.
You've
got to remember.
Okay, then, do you not?
What about Burnley? When Dyche, they've kept hold of them, they've gone yo-yoed with them. Would Villa do that? I don't think.
Yeah, but do you not think, even if you lose that League Cup final, you should still stick with him? I mean, he took you from, 13th in the Championship, and he got you promoted, and got you to a final in your first season up. I mean,
potentially, yeah.
How do you know he's not going to be the one to change it around? I mean, again, I'm just doing it back to what I know, but Klopp, we lost like 4 finals with him before he won his first trophy last year.
The big thing will be if we survive this year. If we survive this year, I genuinely think we'll kick on. But if we don't,
I mean, the thing is with Villa, you've got everything
to be a good team.
The McGinn
The McGinn injury as well is heartbreaking. I think we'd be mid-table if we had McGinn fit. He's just such a vital player when he plays with Grealish as well, because he hit his bad form as Grealish got injured, and they kind of like one was injured and one wasn't. But Douglas Luiz has come into it now. He's looking like a better player. But we were terrible. We were terrible against Bournemouth. So it'll be an interesting one. I don't have that much faith. I think we're going down with Palace and Norwich, but who knows? So another thing I wanted to ask you, which has been in the headlines a lot recently, and it really, for one, really pisses me off, is that the whole debate about how influential players at clubs should have, how much influence they have over the whole club. Don't know if you've seen the whole thing with Eric Abidal and Messi. Basically, Abidal said, he's the sporting director at Barca, by the way. You know, he's survived cancer twice. Right back. He basically said that the players didn't play for Valverde, hence why he got sacked. Messi came out on his Instagram and denied that. Now Abidal suddenly is on the firing line and he's about to get sacked, if not been sacked already. Later this week, Thomas Tuchel, PSG manager, subs with Mbappe. Mbappe starts crying about it. Causes a massive scene.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
Causes a massive scene. They apologise behind the scenes, apologise in inverted commas. But then apparently Mbappe refused to actually apologise and said that he'd be civil, and he feels like he's being treated like an under-19s player. But here's the thing I'm questioning. Why? Because let's be honest, PSG, if they have to choose between Mbappe and Thomas Tuchel, it's obviously they're going to choose. They're going to keep Mbappe. But why should players have this much influence over clubs? I think it's wrong. I'll be pissed off.
Oh no, I completely agree.
If Grealish came and spoke out against Dean Smith,
it's ego.
He was sacked. It must be.
I don't agree when you see. So an example, right? Going back a few years ago with Ranieri, I find it unfair. I know it's all about run of form as well, but when you see players not playing for the manager, and I think it's clear, and I think it's obvious they do, because what bugs me, Ranieri took Leicester to a Premier League win.
He gave those players. He gave Mahrez. If Ranieri wasn't Leicester manager, Mahrez wouldn't be a champion at Manchester City right now.
This is what I'm saying.
Same with Vardy.
What he did at Leicester is, undescribable. Season later, however long it was.
I genuinely think it's the greatest sport upset ever.
And I disagree in the sense of, I know again it's all about results or whatever, but I just think it's quite disrespectful for what he did for that club, for them to release him like that, for the way the players act on the pitch, because the thing that got on my nerves, Craig Shakespeare came in after. And first game, I think it was against Liverpool, they beat us. Second game, they won. And before you know it, they're winning again.
They're mid-table, yeah.
Again, United with Jose Mourinho. How awful were they? And then Ole comes in, and all of a sudden, they in like that period before he was announced permanent manager, they had the best record in the league. A donkey could have gone and managed that team, and they still would have been exactly the same. Like, oh, Ole's bringing in this and that. It's not. It's the players, and I agree with you there. I think the power they have, I think, stupid, and I don't agree with it. I think sometimes managers are treated quite harshly.
I think managers.
And I think they got a lot of unnecessary criticism.
I think managers are treated terribly across the whole board. I genuinely think that managers are the worst treated people in the industry. You say Mourinho, that's the one that sticks out to me. When he got sacked and Pogba tweeted out saying my reaction right now and a picture of him smirking.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And like that, man's just lost his job. You know what I mean?
I think the thing is as well, you have to think like when a team doesn't win at the weekend, more than likely who gets the blame? The manager or the players? A lot of the time the manager, even though yes they choose the team whatever. I'm thinking it's the players which are performing on the pitch, it's them who aren't putting in the work rate,
exactly.
The effort. A manager can only do so much. The manager picks the team, he does the tactic, he does this, he does that, etc. And then it's down to the players to perform. If they're not performing on the pitch, it still gets reflected on the manager. I mean, you could think of it as you know, a teacher at school teaches a class all the stuff they need to know, and then in the exam they all flop it, and obviously it goes back on the teacher. You know what I mean? I think in that sort of way, I think it's just unfair.
But if you're paying £150 million for a footballer, you don't expect them to be having to learn. You expect them to be doing their thing on the pitch. You know what I mean? So
I think that's what makes it worse, actually, as well. He said, especially with the likes of Mbappe, I mean, obviously, the worth of him is probably just stupid, and obviously he's one of the best players in the world at the moment. And
I bet it's just stupid about how much he's worth.
I think when you see these players come off the pitch and, you know, they're reacting the way they are for getting subbed, I just think it's pathetic. And I think it's very disrespectful. To be fair, one thing I kind of on that same wavelength, but then I kind of, from the player's perspective, remember a while back when Jack went off the pitch and he was acting spoiled? In one way I was thinking that's not right, but I almost felt sorry for him as well, because I think...
You never boo your own player individually.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand booing the team, because it's a team game, but individually, nah.
I was going to say, all these Arsenal fans were then going mad saying about what he was doing. I was like, well, when you're booing him week in, week out, and he's supposed to be your captain, I was like, well, I don't blame him, but most of the time, I do think, as you said, the power almost they're kind of giving themselves is...
I mean, I saw a thing, it was into Neil Warnock, and they go to him, what's the worst thing about modern football? And he turns away and goes, the Bosman ruling. Because, do you know what the Bosman ruling is? Basically, it's where a player can sign a pre-contract with another club. Don't know if you saw, Lewandowski did it when he was at Dortmund.
Oh, really?
He was, in January, he had 6 months left in his contract till summer, and he agreed a contract with Bayern in principle.
Oh, so like we did with Naby Keita when we signed
him?
Or like Pulisic, which
pretty much, yeah. A pre-contract, yeah. So, it's... no, not really, actually. No, it's not the same as what you're saying. You're thinking of a transfer where they like loan him back or agree in terms for another season. A Bosman is when... That's a contract issue. Bayern didn't pay Dortmund a penny for Lewandowski. They got him for free because his contract ran out. But they agreed it. It's not like his contract ran out and then he had a bunch of clubs coming for him. His contract was running out in 6 months' time and he agreed with Bayern that he'd join them. Yeah, it's called Bosman ruling. Because there was a guy called Bosman and he got trapped by his club. His club wouldn't let him speak to anyone. So he took it to the Court of Arbitration for Sport and basically challenged it and created the Bosman ruling, which allows players to sign for clubs while they're still at their current club if there's 6 months left on their contract or something like that. And Neil Warnock was saying that's the worst rule in football because it gives the players so much power. Like Christian Eriksen running down his contract for Inter Milan to come along and nab him. You know what I mean? It just gives the players a lot of power, I think. The Bosman ruling.
I think sometimes, I mean, you just mentioned Eriksen then. In a way, I think he was quite disrespectful in what he said after when he left and went to Inter. He tweeted out something on Instagram and then kind of said, so glad to join this new club, going to have a better chance of winning trophies here than I did in my last how many years. Something along like that. I thought, okay, you didn't win anything, but I was thinking still, the stuff Pochettino and what Spurs did for you at that, at the club. I think a lot of players nowadays, I mean, you really do see sometimes with players the difference between who's doing it for the game and who's doing it for the money.
Yeah, you can.
And the contracts, you know what I mean?
I think the likes of Rashford, I think he's a prime example of where a player is playing for the badge. I think Grealish as well. But I think Grealish will go purely because I think he's just too good for us.
Well, you know what, to be fair, to give credit where it's due, from a Liverpool perspective, I think one thing that actually gets forgotten is actually with Sterling when he went to Man City.
Yeah.
Liverpool, obviously, it was between, he could go to Man City or Liverpool were going to try and offer him a new contract. Now, Sterling could have actually took the new contract at Liverpool with the brand new money. He could have just been there, stayed in the next couple months, whatever, got the brand new wage, and then buggered off and gone to City. But he didn't actually take it. And he kept the way he was and then left. And I think that's something that's kind of forgotten, that, that he did actually do that. I mean, in some ways, I do respect that, because I think a lot of players sometimes will stay at the club, yeah, I'm going to stay, take the higher wage, and then, a few months later, they fucked off to another club. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But I completely agree with you there. To be fair, I think there is too much power to players. I mean, I don't know how you would resolve that. I mean, that's probably down to each club, really.
I just think if you're at a club, right, and another club wants to sign you, you should be obliged to put in 100% and play every game. I remember when Burnley showed interest in Chris Wood when he was at Leeds, and he refused to play. That is the thing that really gets
me. It reminds me of like David Luiz, refusing to train until he could go to.
When you refuse to play and refuse to train, imagine I refused to go into work tomorrow because I wanted to move to TK Maxx, so I refused to go in and honour my contract.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But they can do it because at the end of the day,
it's all about them.
There'll be another club coming down the road for them, and they got enough money to take the fines.
Well, to be fair, only once have I ever seen a Liverpool player actually get annoyed, and it was Mane when he got brought off. But that wasn't actually to do with getting brought off. Yeah, it was to do with Salah on the pitch. But I don't think I've ever actually seen a player actually get annoyed at Liverpool for getting brought off. I think it's probably the same. There are probably clubs which are the same where you could account where you've never seen it. And I think sometimes people need to kind of just take a step back and think, why are you doing this? Why are you playing? Because you need to kind of have a look at why you're actually doing it rather than... Because I think sometimes it's just quite egotistical from some of the players for their reactions on the pitch. So Mbappe, what is he? He's 90. How old is he?
21.
21. And he's acting like that, do you know what I mean?
He's going to be the best player in the world though when Messi and Ronaldo retire. I'm convinced about it.
You think?
I genuinely think him. I think Neymar as well. People forget. People forget how good Neymar actually is.
Right, here's something for you then. Quite topical, I guess. I'm talking about the disrespectful, if you know what I'm going to say. Game in the week. I'm guessing PSG will win or whatever. Neymar's got the ball and he's rainbow flicked it or tried to over a defender's head. Referee's booked him for showboating and being disrespectful.
I think that was disgusting.
Neymar's gone, I'm literally just playing football. What do you think?
I thought it was disgusting that he got booked. I thought it was absolutely disgusting. How can you get booked for playing the game?
I was going to say, he's... Right.
Yes, he's taking the piss.
I was going to say, rightly or wrongly, what he's doing... What you do, you pull him aside and you say, listen, we know the score.
Show some
respect. Booking him? I just don't... I think that's a bit far. I don't really agree with that, to be fair. But...
I think it was a joke. And I saw a thing on BBC Sport today saying if that was a Brazilian referee, they'd be encouraging it. Because it's just the culture. I also saw another thing saying, is Neymar the best player that's ever graced the Ligue 1? Which is also a valid point. The fact that he's being penalised for doing a skill is just, like, rightly or wrongly in your eyes, whether he should be doing it or not. The fact that he was yellow carded for it. What?
League One, I'm not going to lie, it just looks boring, doesn't it?
I mean,
because the PSG is so far ahead. In a way.
But then didn't you hear what Angelo Di Maria said? He goes, why is everyone slagging off PSG and Ligue 1 when Liverpool are double the amount of points ahead of the Premier League? But then I guess
the difference
it's a one-off season.
This is that's what I'm going to say. The difference is with the league, with the Premier League, I think that's the beauty of the Premier League. You never know what's going to happen.
Next season, for all we know, Liverpool could have a shot.
Oh, you never know. Next season, we
imagine like Mane. Imagine Real Madrid break the bank and get Mane.
How do you know next season Wolves don't? They're playing like the moment. How do you know they didn't keep up and all of a sudden? Imagine
the opposite. Nuno goes in the summer, to like United or a Spanish club or something. Nuno goes, and Wolves just collapse.
No, exactly.
If you look at Wolves on paper, they're a prime example. Their players aren't mate. I think Wolves fans admit this. Their players and will beat us. Like Connor Cody and Bolly, they're good, solid players, but their players as a team so well. It's like Liverpool's midfield.
I really like Nuno. I think he's great.
I think Nuno's a class boss, and it hurts me to say it's like Wolves have done everything correct. They've done it how they should do it. They've got a bunch of young talent in the Championship, nurtured them through the league, got them promoted, and in the Premier they have not changed the way they play. They just carried on.
I think the thing is, around the world, you look at the different leagues, and you can basically predict. It's quite obvious. I know you can say the same in the Premier League, but I mean, League One, PSG's always going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, then you go to...
Well, except for Monaco that year.
Then you go to the Liga. It's more than like, basically every year, it's going to be Barcelona or Real Madrid. Do Do you know what I mean? You go to the Bundesliga, it's basically always it's going to be Bayern Munich or Dortmund or whatever. You know what I mean? I think the thing is the Premier League, although you could say, well, it was Liverpool and Man City, that's just recent years. When you go back like 4 years ago, Chelsea, United, and I think every year it is nice to see how it changes, and the different challenges you get. I think no one expected this season. I'm not just saying I enjoy it from a Liverpool perspective for doing so well, but I enjoy it because a lot of the good teams aren't doing that well, and a lot of the smaller teams, or whatever, if you want to call them smaller teams, are doing well. I mean, to see Sheffield United, who just got promoted, who were probably favourites to go down when they got promoted.
I thought I had them down.
And they're 5th. I mean, with Chris Wilder, I think that's unbelievable, and I love it.
I had them
to see Wolves,
down
to see Wolves, like 6th or 7th. That's unbelievable. I love to see it. It's things like that which I think is great. To think Chris Wilder could have got Sheffield United promoted and get them Europa League. I mean, Wolves are still doing well in the Europa League as well. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know why people sleep on Wolves so much. I think Wolves are good, genuinely.
No? I mean, we just about beat them at Anfield, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we just about beat them at the Molineux as well. Probably Wolves, both at home and away, have been our highest game this season. So, luckily we prevailed, but I mean, I think, as you said, a lot of people do sleep on Wolves, and I think you never know, they could go far in the Europa League. I mean, do you think they'll make it to the final? I don't know.
I think Wolves might win it.
You think?
Who's better than them? They've proved they can beat United. They've proved they can beat Arsenal. And then the rest of the
All
teams
English final?
If it falls right.
Okay then. One thing then, Champions League prediction. Who's going the farthest?
You're playing Atletico, aren't you?
We've got Atletico.
I reckon I'll beat you. Genuinely.
Do you?
I think I'll beat you.
Why's that?
I think they're having a bad season, and they're due something mad, and it would just be classic, wouldn't it, for them to go and beat you at Anfield or something? Where's the second leg?
Do you actually think that though? Do you genuinely believe they're going to beat us, or is that something that you would want to happen?
No, I don't want it to happen.
You think
I want English teams to go further in the Champions League. I just think that Atletico Madrid are due a break this season. They're due a big break. Have you got to play them at your place first or second?
Second at Anfield.
Okay, that's a game changer. I didn't realise that. I feel like
it's the other way round.
Thing is, if you had like,
but then you say that we played Bayern Munich last year and played them away the second leg. Or no, actually, I think it was that way round, and we beat them 3-0 away from home.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. But I just think it's an advantage to the opposition if they have the second leg at home, like Villa versus Leicester in the Carabao Cup. If we were away at the King Power second leg, I don't.
Okay, what about City versus Real Madrid?
I think City will do.
You know what? Obviously, I'd probably want Real Madrid. They're just awful though. I can see City doing them, to be fair.
Well, it's top of the league with the best defensive record in Europe.
That is quite true.
People don't realise it. They're actually having a pretty good season.
I can't remember who Spurs got.
They got an easier draw, I think.
I can't remember off the top of my head. Can I see Spurs going? To be fair, I'm not sure if I can see
Mourinho
them further,
team,
but it's
you
Mourinho,
never
isn't
know.
it? That's what I was going to say.
You never know with Jose.
The thing is,
if their new signings hit the ground running, Son's already stepping up. I love Son. I love how he steps up to the plate whenever Kane seems to get injured. Like Bergwijn scored his debut. Jedson Martins.
I can't remember who Chelsea got either, to be fair.
They're Barca.
I don't think I can see Chelsea
going
out. Through. That's more experience as well, isn't it? Yeah. There's a lot
the
of
lack of experience in that Chelsea team is pretty frightening.
I mean, you never know. They could pull an absolute worldie.
I mean, they've done weirder things. Like 2012, they had a shite team. Ryan Bertrand started left wing from the Champions League final.
Do you think it's City's year?
I think it might be. I think Europe as a whole is at a very weak stage right now. I think PSG might be a problem. They got Dortmund as well. They'll beat Dortmund, PSG.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're looking. If I'm you, City, Chelsea, Spurs, I'm looking over my shoulder and thinking, fucking hell, I don't want PSG. Do you really want PSG?
What, though? But then I look at the other way around and I think PSG would be thinking, I don't want Liverpool.
I think you versus PSG would be a class game. Because Mbappe...
We had them last year, didn't we?
But Neymar's final.
We lost to him.
I will watch the Champions League game if I had the option to watch Champions League game, and a few of them at the same time, I'll choose PSG's game, because it feels like forever where we've seen Neymar in the Champions League in a knockout game in full strength. He was injured last year against United, wasn't he? Well, he's firing on all cylinders, and Mbappe is. That front two alone, I know they play a front three, but then that front two, and now they've got Icardi as well.
To be fair, I don't see any reason why Liverpool can't get to the final again. I think we're playing well. Here's a little fact for you. Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, every time he's had a European campaign, he's never not reached the final.
Fair play.
Europa League final, we lost it, and then we lost the Champions League final and then won it. But
fair play.
I
think it's also fair. People call Spurs bottle jobs. All it takes is one trophy. Think about Liverpool's trophy record under Klopp for last year. It's terrible.
Oh no, so we lost like four finals with them, I think.
But imagine Jose gets Spurs the FA Cup. Right. Mate, it'd be a game changer. Anyway, I think we're going to wrap that up, episode 10. It's been a pleasure being back. Tom, thanks for coming in.
And you know what, I also want to say one thing actually as well. I was going to say one thing which some of you may have seen, some of you might not have seen, and that's to back Worcester City.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, they're going on an FA Vars Cup run, and by the time this goes out, we may not even be in it. But fingers crossed, we will be. We've got Atherstone away, and if we win this game, we can go through to the quarterfinals. And it's 2 games, or 3 wins, away from Wembley. I think putting those in the same sentence is quite unbelievable, really, isn't it? Worcester City and Wembley. But it is actually a possibility. So fingers crossed we can win tomorrow and get to the next round. And it would just be great to try and get a lot more support up to Bromsgrove for the next few games, especially if it's the quarterfinals. Because realistically, it will be probably one of the biggest games in the club's history. And it'll be bigger than the Coventry, the Scunthorpe, because it is so close to Wembley.
Yeah, you're right.
So it'd be quite nice. So, if a lot of you could keep out and, have a look at the scores and everything going on, that would be quite nice, and get involved with that. And also keep an eye out because we have got a Worcester City documentary in the works at the moment. That's obviously another reason why the podcast was delayed, because we have been working on that. So that's going to be probably about 45 minutes to an hour long. We're aiming to make it, and it's literally going to be a whole kind of history wrap up of Worcester City to present day, of what's happened with the club, why they should come home, why everybody should get behind them. So yeah, just keep a look out for that. That's coming out, isn't it, more?
It is indeed. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. And be sure to catch up next week where we go for episode 11. Thank you very much.